So version 1.3 special program just ended, and we're not only getting two super interesting limited units, but we're also getting a lot of quality of life changes and new game modes as well. So in this video, I'm going to make a quick overview of all the new game modes and quality of life changes, but also going to make a whole analysis on everything they revealed of those two new limited units. And trust me, they are more interesting than what I expected. So let's start taking a look on the Yanagi. Yanagi is going to be another anomaly unit. Yeah, I know, Hoyo is definitely trying to shove down anomaly in your pockets ever since the 1.1. The very first thing that you're going to notice here when they showcase is that Yanagi is going to be an on-field anomaly unit, which means that if you're thinking about using Yanagi with Jane, please forget about it. It's not going to work because they're both trying to compete for field time, and this is going to be like a disaster for both of them. So from what they explained here, her whole gameplay is going to be based on top of her stances, and these stances can be changed whenever you use your special attack, and each one has two different buffs. The first stance is going to give you 10% damage, second stance is going to give you 10% penetration, and these are really solid and interesting buffs to have, because as long as you can keep switching every 8 seconds, you can keep both of the buffs active with 100% uptime. Her additional ability only requires another anomaly unit or same attribute unit in your team, and it's going to increase your build up whenever you swap stances. So this basically means that Yanagi's whole gameplay is going to be centered around stance swapping. This actually kind of means that the Yanagi gameplay is going to have a higher skill ceiling than some other units, because there's a lot of extra inputs and things you need to take care of when compared to other units. So let's say, for example, when we compare for Jane, you just need to keep dealing damage to the enemy and dodging whenever you can. That's it. So for Yanagi, you're going to be also dealing damage to the enemy, also dodging whenever you can, because you don't want to take damage, of course, but you also need to keep in mind about the stance swapping. And everything here needs to happen at the same time, so you have more inputs to make and more things to keep tracking. To finish it up, we also have her core skill, which is the most insane thing that I ever seen in a really long time. As you can see here, if the enemy is already deflected with another anomaly and you use your EX special attack, the last hit of your EX special attack is going to trigger disorder on the enemy. You can simply trigger disorder without even filling up the gauge, and just by using your EX special attack. That's it. It's not going to remove the anomaly from the enemy. It's going to deal damage based on the original disorder damage and Yanagi anomaly proficiency. So Yanagi is still going to be like a really heavily anomaly proficiency focused unit. It's not going to be like Burnies, where you simply stack a lot of attack and you can deal damage in a lot of different ways. So overall, I would say that Yanagi seems to be a really strong. It's probably going to be one of the best units when it comes to dealing disorder damage. One thing that I don't know, and is going to change how much I'm going to evaluate her when it comes to pull value, is about disorder cooldowns. Because if you don't know, Anomaly has a 3-second cooldown in between triggers. So I don't know if her special disorder is going to share cooldowns with the default disorder, which means that, let's say for example, you get enough build up on shock. It will build up enough shock on the enemy with your EX special attack, but then you're only going to trigger Yanagi's special disorder, and the enemy is going to stay with a full shock bar that you cannot trigger because of the cooldown. So maybe this can change how much I'm going to evaluate Yanagi, but I need to get the character in my hands in order to test it, and this isn't something that I can do right now. So next up, on the second half, we're going to get Lighter. So Lighter is going to be a fire stunner. So he's actually going to be a more burst-focused stunner. Despite having like a combo mechanic here, you don't need a lot of field time on him. And also, I know that I said on my first impression video that he was going to be a Koleda power creep. However, he's also seemed to be competing with Lycan. I guess he wants to power creep both of them at the same time, but I can't say for sure because I don't have access to the numbers, you know, like multiplier values, days values, how much damage is going to be when compared to Lycan. So Lighter is able to increase the stun duration on the enemy. He's also going to be able to increase fire damage and ice damage for your teammates, but also remove fire resistance and ice resistance from the enemy. So overall, he has a lot of different and really strong buffs for fire and ice team compositions. And since he's a burst stunner, you can actually fit him in a lot of different team compositions, because if you're using a sustained DPS like Ellen or Soldier 11, Lighter is not going to consume a lot of field time from these units. Despite having combo mechanics, because they say that you need to use your last hit from your basic attack string in order to consume morale and deal damage and daze on the enemy, and also stack all of your buffs, you can see here that he actually gets a lot of basic attack skips. You use the defensive assist to enter the field, then Lighter can just follow up with the last hit of your basic attack string. You use a dodge counter, you can also do the exact same thing. Lighter getting a lot of basic attack strings makes him a really solid option in terms of gameplay, and also, as I said before, in terms of team compositions. It is still going to be a little bit restricted, and so far I wouldn't say that we have like a lot of ice and fire DPS units. We have Soldier 11, we have Burnies, and for now we only have Ellen and Sokaka from ice characters. Maybe in the future we can actually get like an ice anomaly unit, and then we can pair with Burnies, for example. So using Lighter with Burnies and the ice anomaly unit, you can get Lighter to buff both units, both Burnies and the second anomaly unit, and this is going to be like a lot of damage, because removing resistance and increasing both damage while also stunning down the enemy can make your whole gameplay easier while also dealing a lot of damage. We don't have information about how much damage is going to be, how much resistance he's going to shred, how many seconds he's going to increase in your stun duration, but overall, he seems like a solid unit, and since he's going to be on the second half, there's more than enough time for me to get some gameplay and also analyze it, and also some time for you to save as well and decide between going for Yanagi or Lighter. And now I'm going to make a quick overview of all the new features and gameplays and events that we're going to get in the 1.3. And I don't know if this is going to be like for every new upcoming update, but they decided to make the agent stories in the 1.3 a little bit different from the usual. They are going to make some kind of event-like feature for the agent stories, because we're getting some missions here with gameplay for these units, but also a lot of rewards that you can get by just playing the agent story. And this is going to be for both Yanagi and Lighter, but one of the most exciting game modes that we're getting is the tower mode. The tower mode kind of reminds you of Hollow Zero in terms of you're going to be keeping your HP in between fights. You can only heal your units in kind of key points, key floors, and each floor you claim, you're going to get more difficult enemies. So overall, it seems like not exactly like a kind of new end game, because I don't think this is going to be like rotating, but it seems like a really good mode for you to showcase some units, to challenge yourself, maybe speedrun a little bit. I really like the combat in Zone Zero, so I'm super excited for this tower mode. We're also getting a new roguelike TV mode, and yeah, I know what you're thinking, yikes TV mode, but overall I think that they added a lot of quality of life changes on the TV mode, so I'm looking forward for this one. And I also really like roguelike games, so let's see how they're going to make it. As you can see here, they are not adding like combat here. Everything is going to be like full TV exploration, and all of the Resonion, all of the things is going to be like only TV related. We're also getting a lot of smaller events, such as a battle trial on the HIA that we had in the 1.1. We're also getting the 10 limited and bamboo pools, double drop events, both on HIA and disc farming as well, and the usual chill random events that we get in every single version. As for system changes, we're getting a furniture system for our room. You can now use some weekly coins that we're going to get in order to buy furniture for your room. So we are also getting like better profiles here, because we're getting more titles, more badges for you to showcase, you know, like minor things, more cosmetic changes. And for the quality of life changes, that I've been saying this ever since the beginning, you can now favorite your units so they can stay on top of your agent lists. Weeklies completely changed, and now they're actually weeklies. It's not something that you log in and just do in a 5 minutes or something like this. They're actually like missions that requires you to log in daily and build up enough milestones, and this is reward you with points that you can get a lot of different rewards. The companion interface also changed, and it's going to group up a lot, like some different features. It's going to make some features more accessible for you. One really interesting feature that they added here is the fact that you can now see which agent are going to use specific material from bosses. So let's say you have the weekly boss, and you can simply click here on this button, and you're going to see all of the agents that are going to use this material. So they also optimized the craft and dismantle feature, because right now in the game, it's only going to check the previous tier. So let's say you're going to need like purple chips in order to level up your skill. So the game is only going to check for the blue tier, and the green tier, like the basic one, is not going to be taken into account. And now the game is going to scan for every single chip, and it's going to say, hey, you can level up your skill if you evolve all of your chips, like this. They are also adding the option for you to craft master copies, you know, the disc thing that you can get when dismantling, when farming disc as well. So instead of you spending everything and crafting a lot of A rank discs, you can now just go ahead and use 5 of these to make a yellow one, and then you can craft your yellow discs. It's way better, trust me. Disc dismantling also got a lot of quality of life changes. They gave it a new interface here, and also new filters, and a quick select feature that is going to be replacing the select all button. And that should be everything for the 1.3 special program. Let me know in the comments which feature you like the most and what character you're going to pull for, or if you're going to skip the character, because there's a lot of quality of life stuff and super interesting agents coming. I'll also be doing some analysis for different roosters, and we'll make a more detailed pull guide for these new characters soon. So remember to subscribe if you're looking for more Zenless Zone Zero content. And as always, thanks for watching, have a beautiful day, and I'll see you in my next video.